While everyone obsessed over ChatGPT and Gemini, Apple quietly shipped 2 billion AI-ready devices. No headlines. No hype. Just the largest AI deployment in human history. The narrative seemed clear in 2024. Microsoft bought OpenAI's soul. Google bet the company on Gemini. Meta open-sourced Llama. And Apple looked completely lost. Tim Cook barely mentioned artificial intelligence. Siri remained famously useless. Wall Street analysts wrote obituaries. The stock dropped. Headlines screamed that Apple had missed the most important technology shift in decades. Meanwhile, every competitor raced to ship cloud-based chatbots. Bing got Copilot. Google added Bard to search. Samsung partnered with everyone. The AI gold rush was happening, and Cupertino seemed asleep. But beneath the silence, Apple was running a completely different playbook. While rivals chased headlines, Apple was building the hardware foundation that would eventually run AI on every person's pocket. Back in 2017, Apple shipped the first neural engine inside the iPhone X. A dedicated chip for machine learning. Most reviewers ignored it. Apple kept improving it every single year. By 2024, that neural engine could run 38 trillion operations per second. That's faster than dedicated AI servers from just 5 years earlier, packed into something that fits in your palm. Apple Silicon transformed the Mac in 2020. The M-series chips combined CPU, GPU, and neural engine on one piece of silicon. Industry observers called it the most disruptive computing shift in 20 years. Unified memory architecture meant the GPU and neural engine shared the same memory pool. Large AI models could load instantly. No copying. No bottlenecks. A fundamental advantage nobody else had. Meanwhile, NVIDIA became the most valuable company on earth selling AI training chips. But running AI at the user's edge required something completely different. Power efficiency, not raw flops. Every cloud AI query costs money. Servers, electricity, cooling, bandwidth. OpenAI reportedly loses hundreds of millions running ChatGPT. The economics of cloud AI are brutal. The economics of edge AI are beautiful. Here's the first stat that should terrify competitors. Apple ships over 200 million iPhones every single year. Every new model contains AI hardware more powerful than last year's flagship. Add iPads, Macs, Apple Watches, AirPods, and Vision Pro. The installed base now exceeds 2 billion active devices. 2 billion AI endpoints. Northwest competitor comes close to that scale. In June 2024, Apple finally pulled back the curtain. They called it Apple Intelligence. The name was almost cheeky. The strategy underneath was revolutionary. Apple Intelligence runs locally on your device whenever possible. Your photos never leave your phone. Your messages stay private. Your emails are processed on hardware you own, not a stranger's server. When local processing isn't enough, Apple invented something called private cloud compute. Servers running custom Apple silicon. Cryptographic verification. Even Apple cannot read your data. Independent security researchers can audit the cloud server software. If the published code doesn't match what's running, your device refuses to connect. This level of transparency is unprecedented in the industry. Compare that to ChatGPT, Gemini, or Copilot. They read your prompts, train on your data, store conversations forever. Apple's approach treats privacy as the product, not the obstacle. Then came the integration. Apple Intelligence isn't a chatbot you open. It's baked into Mail, Messages, Notes, Photos, Safari, and every app developers write. AI as invisible infrastructure. Writing tools rewrite your texts in any tone. Image Playground generates artwork. Genmoji creates custom emoji. Visual Intelligence reads the world through your camera. All for free, with no subscription. Meanwhile, OpenAI charges $20 monthly. Microsoft charges $30 for Copilot. Google sells Gemini Advanced. Apple bundled equivalent features into devices people were already buying. The developer angle is even more devastating. Apple released frameworks that let any app tap into the neural engine with a few lines of Swift code. Millions of developers, instant distribution. Core ML, Create ML, and the new Foundation Models framework give every iOS developer access to large language models running entirely on device. No API keys. No rate limits. No vendor lock-in. Apple also struck partnerships from a position of unusual strength. ChatGPT integration on iPhone reaches more users in one day than OpenAI gained organically in 2 years. Apple controls the interface. Sam Altman reportedly receives nothing from the Apple deal. No payment. No revenue share. OpenAI pays Apple for the privilege of distribution. The leverage flowed in a direction nobody expected. Google's situation is even stranger. They pay Apple roughly $20 billion yearly just to remain the default search engine. Now imagine what Apple charges for default AI placement going forward. The Vision Pro added another dimension. Spatial computing demands real-time AI for hand tracking, eye tracking, scene understanding, and persona generation. All processed locally. Privacy intact. AirPods Pro use neural engines for adaptive audio, conversation boost, and active noise cancellation. AI in your ears. Most users don't even realize they're using machine learning every minute. The Apple Watch quietly runs heart rhythm classification, fall detection, sleep stage analysis, and crash detection. Healthcare-grade AI on your wrist. Already FDA cleared. Already saving lives. Apple's research papers have been quietly publishing breakthroughs in on-device LLMs. Their MM1 paper showed multimodal models with 8 billion parameters running on phone-class hardware. Then came a paper called Reference Resolution as Language Modeling. Apple's small models beat GPT-4 on specific Siri tasks while running locally. Smaller, faster, and cheaper. Quietly devastating. And then there's manufacturing. Apple buys TSMC's entire bleeding-edge capacity for years in advance. 3 nanometer. 2 nanometer. Their chip lead extends not by months, but by full process generations. Here's what changed everything. In 2025, Apple shipped the M5 and the A19 Pro. Both included redesigned neural engines with 64 cores each, optimized specifically for transformer architectures. And then the floodgates opened. Apple announced $100 billion in AI infrastructure investment over 4 years. Custom data centers. Custom servers. Custom silicon end-to-end. But here's the kicker. Apple's revenue from services hit $120 billion annually. That war chest funded everything. While competitors burned cash, Apple printed it. The big reveal happened at WWDC 2025. Apple Intelligence 2.0 shipped foundation models that ran 20 times faster than the original. Suddenly Siri felt smarter than ChatGPT for everyday tasks. Developers reported that on-device AI calls now completed in milliseconds. No network round trip. No timeouts. No outages. The latency advantage made cloud AI feel ancient by comparison. And then came the developer floodgates. Within 6 months of the Foundation Models framework release, over 400,000 iOS apps integrated on-device AI. Compare that to ChatGPT plugin counts. Meanwhile, OpenAI's losses ballooned to $14 billion annually. Google quietly killed Bard. Microsoft slashed Copilot pricing twice. The cloud AI business model started cracking under its own weight. And then the unthinkable happened. Apple's market cap crossed $5 trillion. The same company that supposedly missed AI became the most valuable AI distribution platform in human history. The press finally caught on. The Financial Times called it the quietest revolution in tech. Wall Street upgraded Apple to overweight. The narrative completely flipped within 18 months. The lesson is simple. Apple wasn't behind. Apple was playing a longer game. Hardware foundations laid in 2017 became the substrate for everything happening now. Cloud AI requires massive capital, growing operational costs, and unhappy customers worried about privacy. Edge AI requires upfront silicon investment, then near zero marginal cost forever. Apple chose the better economic model. Privacy isn't just ethical. Privacy is strategic. Regulators in Europe, California, and beyond are tightening data rules every year. Apple's local-first approach sidesteps the entire compliance nightmare. Distribution beats invention. OpenAI invented modern conversational AI. Apple distributes AI to 2 billion devices. History suggests distribution always wins eventually. The pattern repeats again and again. Integration beats features. A standalone chatbot requires you to remember to open it. AI woven into every app means you use it constantly without thinking about it. Invisible technology wins. Apple also weaponized patience. While rivals chased quarterly headlines, Apple invested for a decade in silicon, frameworks, and ecosystem. Patience itself became a competitive moat. The competitors haven't lost. They built the foundation models Apple now uses. But the value capture shifted dramatically toward whoever controls the device, not whoever trained the model. So the next time you see a headline saying Apple is behind on AI, remember this. Apple was never racing the same race. They were building the racetrack everyone else has to run on. If this changed how you see the AI war, hit subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Drop your take in the comments below.